watched Wicked for Good yesterday, and it was a great movie, but what was even greater were the references to oppression and authoritarianism. They just touched on so many different aspects of it. But I think the point that most stood out to me was, for example, when Elphaba thought she'd struck a deal with the wizard to free the animals. He said, yeah, like, of course I'll free the animals because once I have you, the real power, I don't need the animals anymore. And that really shows how a lot of leaders are powerless. What they do is they create a weak society so they can be the one people look up to. When people are weak, they don't rebel. And even the wizard himself said, even if I told these civilians I was lying, they would never believe me because they love the lie. The fact that the wizard and Madame Morrible loves Glinda, it really represents how in authoritarian states they love the submissive. And I think this really relates to Hannah Arendt's philosophy of when we lose value of our values, we become really susceptible to these influences, right? I mean, for example, in Nazi Germany, the SS, they were not evil people per se. They were simply following orders. I love how Glinda wasn't portrayed as a bad person. She was portrayed as someone with moral dilemmas who knew that Elphaba was right, but she was influenced too heavily by the power she had. Also, the fact that the Munchkins lost some of their rights as well show how, in an oppressive society, we have to defend each other because it can happen to any one of us. The fact that even though Elphaba was trying to help the animals, some of the animals were still doubtful of her. It shows how even if you're oppressed, you can be really susceptible to propaganda and also not realize that freedom is good because you are so wired to think in this way. Anyways, it was just such a great movie. I 10 out of 10 recommend it.